welcome to this week's edition of the Coaches Preview Show. I'm Jeremy Qualls. We have a huge marquee matchup between two of our top programs right now, two of the top in the state, matter of fact. Number 3, Page Patriots. Number 8, Summit Spartans in 5A right now ranked. Coach Coleman, Coach Rathbone. It is stressful, but it's got to be a little bit of fun knowing that you're both in the top 10. Week 5 here, and this is actually going to be week 6, pardon me, and both of you ranked. Big-time matchup. Could be region championship implications on the table.
You know, polls don't mean anything. They're not going to win you any football games.
Standard stock.
Good for maybe good for parents to look at. Maybe a good conversation piece at the coffee shop, but not going to win you a game. And you know, it's welcoming Page to the region, and daggum, you know, it's going to be a heck of a game. You know.
Welcome to the region. Yeah. They're sitting number 3 in the state polls in 5A right now.
Exactly.
Tied for first, both of you. What do you think, Coach Bone?
I'm not exactly sure what polls y'all are talking about. I mean, I think y'all are creating these polls in your own minds.
And none of the parents ever talk about any of this either, right? It's not important for the parents because they don't even pay attention to the polls.
Oh, our parents,
or Twitter or anything else.
Our parents are always talking, though. So, I mean, that's just the way it is.
I have to give a shout-out to your parents. The Page faithful watches the show, and they like to correct Tate and I on our errors, which is good. Hey, they're paying attention.
And errors y'all make?
We make plenty.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
We make plenty, and I'm sorry. I'm just, we're not doing this for a living by any. This is a hobby for us. We enjoy doing it.
I mean, I still hear about us being the only team left out of the Williamson County preseason show. I mean, I still hear about that all the time. We were the only ones not mentioned.
We did, but we finally came back and got it. But it was just a week later. I'm sorry. Hey, we don't have but 9 teams. I know. Hey, look, ESPN has not been calling us by any stretch of the imagination. So. Let's get off of me and get back onto this game. Page coming in at 4-1, 1-0 in region play right now. Number 3 in the state 5A polls. They beat Fairview in the Battle of 840 first week, 28-14. Beat Nolensville 43-13. Beat Franklin County, which is a region game, 42-7. Lost to Ravenwood, and that was a good game, 46-21. And then came back with a good statement win for your program against the 6A program, Antioch, 36-0.
Yeah, to be honest, the Antioch game, probably the worst game we played so far. It was there's just something different about that game. I felt like Ravenwood, for 3 quarters, that's probably one of our better games that we played. It was 23-21, we're going in to score, and we throw an interception. So right now the guys are playing really, really well. We seem to struggle with speed teams, so I mean all this talk about the polls and teasing each other, it's great. But, we still got Summit and Columbia and Shelbyville, all of them have athletes that may present some challenges for us. So I mean, it's a long season, and we're halfway, and we're just looking forward to a fun time Saturday night or Friday night tonight against Summit, and get after it. And a couple old rivals from Region 4, 4A meet back up finally.
5 times y'all have played, I believe, in history. Page is 5-0. I want to throw that little nugget out there for y'all to little billboard material. Coach, is everybody healthy right now?
Yeah, we're pretty healthy.
And that's a good thing. Here it is, halfway through the season. You want your kids to be healthy. You want to be able to get into late in the season, everybody with good health. Summit 4-1, 2-0 right now, number 8 in the state polls, as we said. Lost to Spring Hill 21-20. Now, it's a game you'd like to have back on that one, but it is what it is. Beat Independence in the border battle, first time in school history, 31-17. Beat White County, which was a region game, 47-0. Beat Nolensville, 41-17. Beat Columbia 48-27, which is a region game. On paper, almost a complete copy of each other's resume. Score-wise, opponents-wise right now, if you did strength of schedule and all that. So what's going to give here? What do you talk about Page for just a second?
Oh, they're very fit. The first thing that stands out to us is a very physical football team. They're very good up front, offensive and defensive lines, a very physical running back, and still can throw the ball around, and that quarterback's scary in the pocket. He can get out of the pocket. We're going to stay, in our lanes. He can run around and make plays with his legs also. So, like it's a very physical. We're worried about the physicality of the football game. If we can hold up to that.
I think the first thing that comes to everybody's mind when you're talking about Page football is physical. That's the first word that comes up to everybody. Now, Coach, I don't know if you know that or not, but it's everybody, the pack of lunch, you're playing Page because they're going to bring it to you. May not be the fastest team, may not be the biggest team, but they are going to be physical. Is that something you hang your hat on every day?
Sitting here hearing that, it makes me want to stick my chest out a little bit. I think every coach wants their team to be physical, and I think when you look at us and Summit, we mirror each other, quite a bit. Neither one of us have the athletes that some of the other teams in 5A have, and everybody talks about Summit. You got to stop Ty. You got to stop Ty. And as great as Ty is, you got to look at George, and you got to look at the number 7, and you got to look at the outside linebackers, number 40, and you got 33 on the defensive line. They're very quick, and so we mirror each other. And yes, we want to go in and be physical, but we also got some guys on the outside receivers that we want to get the ball to as well. And
Speaking of George Odomegwu, breakthrough player of the year has to be right now, man. This dude is playing really, really good for you. You're talking about when we hear Page, we hear physical. When we hear Summit, we think vertical passing game. We think, I'm just kidding, I like to mess with you on that. We think the wing tee, ground and pound, speed, Ty Carter. Now you got George Odomegwu in there, you got Jatavion in there. Talk a little bit about your 3 running backs, man. You got the 3-headed monster right now is playing really, really good football.
They're doing well. And George, we kind of saw that he was coming around last year during basketball season when he kind of got called on to play a little bit with some injuries they had in basketball. So we knew, he was capable of not being scared of the lights, I guess you could say. So we knew that he was going to be okay and really didn't expect, at the level he is playing at. But and what I want to do is give a shout out to the offensive line, because sometimes if you put any back in there, me and you were running the football, we might get a couple yards, maybe a couple yards. But they're opening up big holes.
My cardio's
up front.
better than you. I could probably get a little further.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Right.
You're right, Doc.
Right.
But so you've got to credit those guys up front to open up the holes for those, and the running back, Page and Ty and George will also, say the same thing. They credit their offensive line for, blocking well for them up front.
Well, you look at the Columbia game. You outscored Columbia 48-27. 14 of their points came second half. You had a 28-point second quarter. Your first half right now looked really, really strong throughout the 5 weeks of play. You've outscored your opponents 105 points, 187-82. You look at the particular in Columbia game. Ty Carter 133, George Odomegwu 97. That's been pretty much a staple. A lot of these games you're only playing a half, right? I mean, you think about your style of offense. A lot of people don't think high-scoring offense, but here you are averaging well over 40 points, 45 points a game almost.
Yeah, and that's a blessing and a curse too, because we know Friday night or tonight's going to be a 4-quarter ball game. So do we have the stamina? Do we have the, are we ready for a 4-quarter ball game? And I hope we are. I hope we're physically ready for it. But it'll be a challenge for us, definitely.
Well, Ethan Cash right now, he's your starting quarterback, 12 of 25 on the year, 2 touchdowns. Ty Carter, has had some passing touchdowns receiving wise. Nick Johnson, 5 catches, 82 yards. But I go back to Ethan Cash, 12 of 25. I think Independence, whom you did beat, I'll give him credit, but it's funny because he threw 25 passes in one game the other night. But once again, you're averaging 40-plus points a game. Offensive line's doing everything you need them to do. Your play calling at certain times is, you got to pick and choose when you do throw those passes, and usually it's at a great time. I go back to that border battle game, and it was perfect timing on those things. You set up the run to set up the pass to go back to the run.
And I think you'd rather run the football if you're capable, if you're doing it.
Sure.
If you're able to run the ball and get a few yards, and mix in some passes to scoot the defense back a little bit. But if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Don't throw it just to throw it. We're not that kind of team, and I don't feel like I'm not that kind of coach just to throw it to be pretty, but. Because there's a lot of things that can go wrong when you do throw the ball, and most of them are bad. But again, to beat a good team like Page, I think we are going to have to throw the ball a little bit, to loosen up the defense a little bit. And I hope Ethan is ready for that and prepared to do that when he is called upon.
Well, Page, a little different, has a great running back in Bubba Johnson, but also a very good quarterback in Jacob Van Laningham. You have 3 really, really good targets out there. I mean, Will Pierce. And remind me of your other wide receiver, the tall.
Quay Lamont.
Yeah, those guys, you want to talk about passing the look test. I mean, they look like big-time wide receivers, and then you got Michael Burdick in the mix. So you got 3 really good targets out there for Page.
Yeah, and we got another kid that's getting healthier and healthier, JoJo Bruce, who can stretch the field a little bit. But, I agree with what Coach Coleman, on the way over here I was listening to Sports Talk Radio, and they were talking about Vanderbilt, and they were talking about their philosophy, how they believe in run-off tackle, play action. And that's kind of what Summit does. And I completely agree that you don't just throw the ball to be throwing the ball, and if it's not fixed, you want to run the ball. You know, it's safer, and all those things. But most schools, you know, I guess we're kind of lucky. Both of us are lucky this year that we have linemen that are actually pretty good, and you could put 5 linemen on the field that can move off the ball a little bit and pull in the screen game and things like that. So I mean, you know, we want to run the ball. We just choose to do it different ways, and people think just because you run the ball, you're not a big play offense. That's just not true.
That's right.
You know, you put up a lot of points running the ball. You just got to be kind of strategic and creative in how you get the ball in their hands.
And in particular, I go back to thinking about the Ravenwood game. Van Ingham has a 52-yard, you know, quarterback keeper there for the touchdown. That was to get that game within 3 points. You remember that right at the first, I think it was the first or third quarter?
Yeah, that made it 23-21.
That's right. And, you know, that's a big play. You've got that big play capability, that speed, as well as that power that we were talking about, that everybody, you know, very physical team, but you have the speed in spots as well.
Yeah, and you know, and we're blessed with that. And he, you know, but he's got to be able to throw the ball a little better. You know, I think there's a lot to say. You know, you kind of pound that ball and you kind of take them by slow deaths, but there's something to say about throwing a spear in somebody's heart by throwing an 80-yard bomb. You know, so and that's, you know, I like to do that as well. So I mean, I kind of, if I had my druthers, I'd be able to do both.
Page finished 2016 7-4, 4-1 in region play. You were 4A at the time, second round of playoffs. Summit finished in 2016 7-4 as well, 5-2, lost to Cane Ridge in the first round of the playoffs. First time in history. I know I keep going back to this, but you're getting yourself lined up for this. Both of you are going to be in the playoffs. I'm going to knock on wood. I'm not going to jinx you. I'm going to go ahead and go. Both of you are going to get in because I think you're entirely too good. Let's look at Region 5 5A. Page Summit, top of the class right now. Shelbyville Central right now. Neither one of you played them. Really good team.
Very good football team.
1-0 in region play. Columbia Central, you've already played. You've beaten them. Franklin County has got a loss. Lincoln County and White County, neither one have got a win. Right. So there's 7 spots. You got to take the top 4. Would it be safe to say right now that the 4 favorites to get in is Shelbyville Central and Columbia along with you two, or is there somebody in this lower group out of Franklin, Lincoln, and White County that can emerge?
We're scared of Franklin County now. Page put it on them pretty good. Run ruled them, I think, as a matter of fact. So, you know, that'll be
What scares you most about Franklin County?
It's Coach McCurry. I coached under him for a few years.
And they run the
so
same kind of
offense we
right?
do. So I think, you know, he'll put a lot of eggs in that basket, I think, and it's worrying us, of course, to play them. But Shelbyville's a great football team. I think they have been in the past. They're putting up a lot of points also. So you know, it's still up in there. I know we're halfway through the season, but we've only had 2 region games, so we've got a lot of region games to play.
And you like I said, you still got you have after the Page game, you got Franklin, Shelbyville, and then you play Centennial, which is a non-region game against Coach Kreisky, and then you got Lincoln County to finish off. So your last 5 games, 4 of the 5 are in the region. So we have a lot of work to do, a lot of stretch to go. But you have to feel good right now where you are going in. The Columbia Central game, now you're talking about that, think about Columbia Central. They come in undefeated. Murray County's fired up about Columbia Central. You know, everybody's thinking this is going to be a close game, and then you come out and put it on them.
They're a very capable football team now. They're offensively, they can break an 80-yarder any time of the game. So, you know, we tried to keep the football from them, you know, by long drives and run the football against them and try to grind it out a little bit. So, you know, that was the game plan, and I think it went pretty well. But again, you know, I think we gave up 28 points, so they can score. Definitely they can score. So they are a good football team.
Coach Rathbone, your last 5 games consist, outside of this one, Summit, obviously, tonight, Lincoln County, White County, you have the bye week, and then Shelbyville and Columbia. So you have all region games left.
Right, and you know they've got 2 wins in the region, so they win 1 more, they're in.
Right.
You know, and so we both got work to do, and really coaches never like talking what ifs. You know, you play 1 game at a time, but you know, if you do look ahead, you know, I mean, Shelbyville does, you know, scare us because we know they have athletes on the edge and speed on the edges, and you know, can we run with those kids? And you know, we saw Columbia against Summit last week, and they got 2 running backs that can score from anywhere on the field, and you know, they pound the ball right down your throat, and they want to control the clock, and you just never know how a game's going to unfold. Much like tonight, you know, if Summit keeps the ball from us, and and they got a really good chance of winning. We keep it from them, we got a good chance of winning.
Well, tonight's game is at Summit Squad. Talk a little bit about what that brings to the table. I mean, it really gives you a home field advantage, as does the Patriot Nation. I mean, because let's just, all 9 schools, all our student sections are really second to none to anybody. But you two guys, your 2 particular programs, Summit Squad right now is if you polled Tate, they would be sitting there at 1B or number 2 if there's such a number 2. I mean, that's how high on the scale they are for Tate, in Tate's eyes, of what they bring to the table.
It's great. I mean, it's great for the football players to look up there and see all the students having a great time, and and cheering the guys on. So it's hard. I think I've said this before. It's hard really not to play hard and give all you have if you look up there and see all those kids supporting you and showing up to the games and such. So in Williamson County, it's a great atmosphere. I had a lot of people that have come to the games and see us play, and it's like they're very, very impressed with the student section, very impressed with the attendance at all the games. And I think it's like that all in Williamson County.
We're blessed with that. And speaking of the Ravenwood game for you guys, I don't know what a record crowd for Page is, but that was close to capacity as you're going to get at that. It was a great atmosphere.
Yeah, and I guess if you go to any Williamson County school, you're going to see that anytime you play those local rivals like that, it brings out more people. I mean, I feel like, I feel like I'm in the NFL this week. Everybody hit me up for tickets, and I'm like, this is not college. I can't just create tickets. And so, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people there on both sides, and I think we'll fill the stands on our side and hopefully run over some on their side so we can give them a hard time on their sidelines. So, it's going to be a great atmosphere, a great game, and hopefully great sportsmanship, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
It will be, and it's just everywhere you go. Now, my question is, I was laughing at your comment what you were making about the Ravenwood crowd and whatnot. Do you think that Ravenwood crowd will travel all the way down to Fairview? Because, Ravenwood plays Fairview here in about 2 weeks at Fairview. Do you think they go down there?
I do, and I think they overrun Fairview with that crowd. I mean, Ravenwood has always traveled well. So
right.
So is Centennial and Summit. They've always traveled well, no matter where they go. If you look back at the state championship a couple of years ago, I believe they had the largest crowd of any team there.
They did. We broke the record. Matter
Right.
of fact, that year, 2 years ago. You're speaking of, right? Was
Right.
Well, Independence and Ravenwood won it. Yes,
And the excitement that Coach Daniels is creating up there, I think they're all in, and they're going to follow their team wherever they go.
So let's talk real quick. Defense. Who's shining on the defensive side of the ball for you guys?
I'd say Robert Holmes, the middle linebacker. He's doing a great job, running the defense. He's a great team leader for us. Second-year captain, doing a great job. Braden Stem and Zach Klaus are our 2 defensive tackles. They're doing great. Working on leverage this week against the bigger offensive linemen. So doing good. And Jatavion Hayes is a pleasant surprise for us. Of course, we talked about him on the return game and things like that, but he's doing a good job at corner. So, a lot of bright spots, and Coach Melton does a great job. We kind of got on him last week a little bit with Coach Hester, or a couple weeks ago, and he wouldn't watch the show. So maybe we'll give him a shout out this week, and he'll watch it. But he does a great job. We talked about him being the head coach of the defense. So, it's all he is.
Why didn't you watch the show?
I don't know.
Is it
It's something against you, I think. I don't know.
Oh, that's usually all of you. But is he superstitious?
No, he just didn't want to hear us getting on.
So I'm
him,
gonna
I
have to
guess.
start. We're going to create a new segment in our show.
The assistant coaches or something.
The Melton's defensive pick of the week or something. Just to see if he starts watching.
Or get him here.
Melton's melting pot.
He could take my spot.
Melton's melting pot. He just breaks down all the defenses in the county.
That's a good idea,
something.
Coach Bone. I
We've
like
got
it.
something.
I got it. We're on to something here.
Oh yeah.
Coach Bone, on your side, defensively, Michael Burdick, that name keeps coming up. If I'm not mistaken, 5 interceptions on the year already, several pick sixes. Pretty much, I hate to say this because it's never a single-handed effort, but sealed the deal for you against Fairview.
Yeah, he did, and on the way over here, I was kind of thinking about what to say, and we could sit and talk about Bubba and Burdick and all those guys all we want, but really it starts up front. Those guys getting pressure on the quarterback. Jonathan Harris has done a great job. Luke Bowers is playing outstanding football at defense or outside linebacker for us. So, it's really a team effort for us. We don't have any one standout player. If I had to choose a standout player on defense, it would be Jonathan Harris. I mean, he disrupts the run game and the pass game quite a bit. But, all those glory hound guys in that secondary that get those interceptions and carry the ball, they can't do anything without those offensive and defensive linemen, getting after the
Glory
quarterback.
Spoken like a true lineman right there. Did you have to play line by chance?
I did, but it's true.
You're right. You're right.
Ask
I'm
Nick
not-
Saban; he'll tell you the same thing.
You're right. I'm just trying to give you a hard time a little bit. Anytime I have you guys, coaches on, I like to do the "Where Are They Now" segment. And Brent Samaglia, University of Tennessee, this past weekend, saw him get his first piece of action.
51-yard.
And man, I was pulling for him. I don't ever pull for UT, but now I'm pulling for him. He gets out there and has an opportunity. He has got, if I'm not mistaken, he's got the 40-plus duties. Is that correct? Did I say that right?
Right.
For them. And have you still talk to him?
We text every now and then. He's obviously like we are busy this time of year, but he's excited and he's enjoying every opportunity he gets up there. And he went up there and worked hard. And they kind of, the senior up there, which is from Marshall County, they felt like they owed it to him to give him some at least partial duties. So he's kickoff and under 40, and Brent's kicking everything over 40. And he did a good job. He missed a couple the other day against Florida, but in that atmosphere, as a freshman.
Talking about getting thrown into the pan, right
Yeah.
there it was, man. And both kicks had plenty of leg.
Oh, yeah.
Just got to get
That's never been a problem.
squared away. So Michael Magochi, is he at Murray State? Is that correct?
He is. They actually moved him to tight end. He's getting some playing time. He's running with the twos, but playing about half the game. Doing really well up there. He seems to be enjoying it.
Anybody else? I know there's plenty I'm missing here.
We got Joe Robertson, who was starting at Tennessee Tech. He actually tore his hamstring. Worked so hard for 4 years and tore it, but he was starting at Tennessee Tech. And we got a few others scattered out throughout the country.
What about Old Sparty? Young program.
Young program.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, let's just talk about that recruiting watch then, because last time we talked, I believe Toledo was one that's offered Ty. Texas, El Paso,
Texas,
or San Antonio.
Yeah.
Roadrunners.
Yes, who beat Baylor. So I mean,
Think about that.
they're a legit program.
Anybody else come in?
Elon is an offer he's had.
Okay.
Toledo beat them, so that may have put
Are
Toledo.
they in the MAC
up
as
there.
well? Is Elon in the MAC?
Yeah. So, it's a long ways away. So he
As long as he stays healthy, keeps
long as
producing like he's been doing. Is he 100% right now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And he's a great kid. I mean, I talk about this all the time. He's a great kid. So, hopefully somebody will, I don't want to say take a chance, but just kind of notice him a little bit more. I don't, this whole college thing is often frustrating for us, for me as a head coach. So, because we're trying to promote our kids, because we always think our kids are, are great, but he is a good kid, and wishing to get a few more.
Of course, it's a little early. Like George having the year, we fail to realize this kid's a sophomore. Now, Jatavion is a senior, correct? Yeah, but George Odumegwu sitting there as a sophomore, having the kind of year that he's having, looking really good. If he sustains this for his duration of his career, he'll have an opportunity as well.
Who knows?
Right?
You would think.
Ethan Cash, you would think, good size for a quarterback. You can go down the list of anybody. But I want y'all to talk just for a second, because you mentioned a very good point. How difficult is it, really? How difficult is it to get a college scholarship in football?
For us, it's extremely, we spend hours upon hours upon hours sending out film, calling coaches, texting coaches, emailing coaches, and it's almost like they look for, I guess, what they call intangibles. They want the height, the size and the speed, and they really just don't look at pure football. Yeah. And they don't look at the character of the kid. And, they all sell that to the media and say they do, but I'm convinced that they don't. All they care about is what they see at their camps. And if you don't go to their camps, they're not going to give you a shot.
So Murray State's coach was at Independence 2 years ago, the year they won it. Andrew Bunch, going through the route tree. Now, we all know how good he was, 3,000-plus yards, one of the better quarterbacks we've had. I just stood beside him. I said, what are you looking at? What are we going through? And he said, I'm looking at his foot, his feet, looking at his release point. He's like, yeah, it's a little low, a little this. I'm like, dude, this guy's got 3,000-plus yards on an undefeated team, nationally ranked team. They didn't offer. So I don't know that the general public realizes how much work, one, y'all do behind the scenes, two, how hard it really, truly is to even get a kid a look, and three, to get an offer.
Well, I've had several colleges tell me if they do not come to our camps, we're not going to offer them. And I just look at a kid like Ty. I happen to know Ty used to come down, him and his brother used to come down and play basketball when I lived out in Spring Hill. Great kid. And he has everything you want. He has the speed. He's physical. He plays multiple sports where they say that's a key. They say that's a key. They want to play multiple sports. I just don't get it. I don't understand what they're looking at. I wished I did. You know, then I'd sell every single kid in Williamson County and every other school for that matter. But there's just not one thing that these scouts are looking for.
And then they go down the road and, you know, go to another county and offer these kids that haven't played all year. Okay, and he's 6'4", this kid's 6'4", 250. That's great. He hasn't played football in 2 years, but they still won't offer one guy, but they go offer
Look
this
test,
guy. It's you know, who knows what they? I don't.
And let's be honest too. When you get to the FBS level, the high level, the SEC, etc. These guys are coming in. They may have 30 slots,
Right.
and they'll offer 60 different people. And if all 60 agree to come, somebody's fixing to get cut when it gets there. Now that sounds good, and we're going to do the signing day and do all that. And they get there, then all of a sudden, boom, they get hammered. I mean, it's a business when it gets there. It doesn't. Our kids are nothing but commodities.
That's true. And then they, you know, they're on them. They love them to death. They text them. They talk to them a lot. You know, and then once they get them, you know, we got you. And then
We got you because it's on to the next one.
Now
It's on to the next.
Now you better perform, or we'll find somebody else. So they just kind of just let them go then. So, and that's rough on a kid, you know, especially when they build relationships with these coaches. So,
and it's hard on a coach. It's hard on a high school coach. It's hard on Charles Rathbone and Brian Coleman to go in and explain the process to parents. At the same time, you're trying to be positive.
Yeah.
It's difficult to be real with people. It really is, and they don't understand that game because they're getting sold the good end, the high end. Boy, we really want your kid. We love what your kid has to offer. Man, y'all look good.
so then offer. Oh well, we don't.
We're gonna offer part. We want them to be a preferred walk-on.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna offer partial, or we're gonna, you know, usually in the football realm.
Or if they
there's
ask
not,
you to be
there's
a-
not a partial. It's either all or nothing.
We've had a kid, and I won't get specific. We had a kid that they offered a preferred walk-on. He didn't even get to put a helmet and shoulder pads on and got cut. So it is a tough game.
So think about that. That was probably a higher end school, and there was plenty of middle to lower end schools that offered maybe to play. We tried to take the high route, and guess what? Never
No
made
shot.
a roster.
No shot.
Never got our picture in the media guide. Didn't get on the website. I don't care about walking on the field. We never even made it to that point.
Well, and all these little camps that all these people are making tons of money off of, and telling these kids they're the greatest thing that they've ever seen walk on the field, and then convincing parents. Parents got to be realistic too. You know, it's not. We can sit and blame colleges all we want, and I completely agree. But until you get realistic.
Well, I was going to play at Duke and Vanderbilt, but here I am doing a coach's preview show with you two. So what does that tell you?
Tells me you won.
You did a great job.
Hey, marquee matchup, man. It's going to be great. It's fantastic for the WCS Sports Conference tonight for both of you. I wish you both the best of luck, not only tonight, but going forward. Make us proud, getting that playoffs. Let's not see each other until that would be what, third round?
Second, third round.
Third round, hopefully. If you're 1-2, regardless of who's 1-2, you're both playing at home first round. It wouldn't be till third round. So let's make that a good goal. How about that? Can you do that for me?
Good job.
Impossible. Kickoffs tonight at 7 o'clock at Summit. If you want to, please come out and watch these two guys. But more importantly, come watch those kids. Thanks for joining us this week for Coach's Preview Show. We'll see you next time.
You're always trying to keep your kids safe, right? What about preventing concussion? Concussion can happen anywhere, on a sports field, at the park, even at home. So you need to know the ABCs. Assess the situation, be alert for signs and symptoms, and contact a healthcare professional. Most kids recover completely, but seek care to help them get better faster. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. Keep kids safe. It's as simple as ABC.